Hello ladies and gents, welcome to this video showcasing my opinions and views on how females are portrayed in gaming. My name is Rai and I'll be your host. Please note that this video is created with a purpose to express my own individual opinion and views towards this subject, and thus its contents were not made in an attempt to discredit and or belittle other opinions and work regarding this subject. And with all that being said, let's begin. And begin we will by going to the beginning of gaming, the 80s. The early stages and the beginning of the gaming era, the roots of many most beloved and treasured game franchises and companies alike, from the iconic games like Mario Bros, Street Fighter to classics like Duck Hunt and Kung Fu Master. These are the essential building blocks that have shaped our gaming culture and industries to this day. Women oftentimes in video games are portrayed as damsels in distress, a maiden in need of a knight in shining armor to rescue her from an almighty evil dragon. But believing that women are only portrayed in these roles is quite mistaken. Many feminazis may claim that female gender is objectified and misrepresented in the case of being powerless and oftentimes victimized. I would quite argue in most cases they in fact have the same level of importance or sometimes even greater power than their male counterparts. Take Princess Zelda from The Legend of Zelda for example. Just in case some people didn't get it, the game is named after Zelda and not the protagonist Link. If that isn't a big plus, I don't really know what is. Zelda is the princess of Hyrule and oftentimes the victim of kidnapping by the evil Ganondorf. And some may claim she's a victim and used as an object to convey and shift the story for the protagonist's benefit. Stuff like that tend to happen if you're in a position of power. I would agree that she is indeed a victim of kidnapping, and yes, she awaits to be rescued by Link, but let's look at this logically for a moment. If you were in Ganondorf's shoes and you wanted to take over the world, but there's already a current ruler of the world, isn't it logical to eliminate or nullify that threat first? With that aside, Zelda isn't completely helpless. She helps and aids the protagonist defeat the threat and helps him accomplish his goals as showcased in numerous games within the franchise. Many stories are written in this manner, with females often victimized, and that's probably the effect of us humans as a species deriving from a male-dominant culture and nature in the past since our primitive stages. The fact is, our history and culture has been deeply shaped by male-dominated culture till the late 1800s, and everything including our traditional storytelling has been deeply affected by this. And it's almost become a cliche whenever a new story is written in that manner. One game in particular in the 80s that no doubt massively influenced in redefining gender roles and the way women are portrayed in gaming is Metroid, released in 1986 by Nintendo. Within that game, the protagonist, same as Aaron, was revealed to be a female at the end of Metroid, leaving many gamers surprised to say the least. And quite possibly the reason why we didn't see much of it back in the day is probably due to the market demographics. Video game industries in the 80s were very fragile and doesn't leave much room to experiment and explore with. And since gaming was a male-dominant culture, still is to this day, they probably didn't want to risk seeking a new target audience, new target market, as it runs more risks than rewards. It would probably be like trying to sell a Barbie doll to a grown man. Since then though, many games have implemented female characters as playable characters and some feature as the protagonists of their own respective titles. And we've come to love and respect those iconic characters deeply. Same as Aaron, Lara Croft, Faith, Clementine, Alex Vance, Lightning, just to name a few, and the list can go so on and so on. The games industry has expanded their focus on a wider market since then and continues to empower female characters in order to bring equality to both genders. And I think we've almost reached that point. The way I see gender equality is not physically restricted, but rather their freedom to do something that would otherwise restrict them. Take, for example, a narrative game like Dragon Age. You as a player can choose to play either of the two genders, both ultimately leading you to eliminate the threat that threatens the world. Simply put, your narrative experience may differ by playing a certain gender that would otherwise be different by choosing the other. Both genders are fully capable of saving the world if they so desires. And this applies beyond your protagonist being a certain gender. Side characters that are always the victims doesn't imply that they are incapable of saving themselves or others. Saying Princess Peach is incapable of saving herself or others just because she's been kidnapped countless times doesn't mean there isn't potential for her to do so. You may very well find in the future a game made by Nintendo where Mario gets kidnapped and Peach has to save him instead, or something along those lines. To me, it's all a matter of storytelling. Male and female aren't the same simply because they're not physically, and because both genders will gain a different response and affect the narrative experience of the viewer. Another controversy regarding how women are portrayed in gaming is sexualization of female characters. Yes, there are games out there with over-sexualized female characters with certain body part physics, Korean MMOs, but that's because they clearly know what market they're trying to engage in, the easiest way to engage them. And even with that, you shouldn't classify all games under that genre as over-sexualized, since there are a few games that aren't all about showing the skin. And really, it's basically the same stuff in media as a whole. And the gaming and entertainment industry is a business. It's not charitable, it's there to profit. But that's a whole other topic. My point is, we shouldn't assume women as weak and incapable just because they appear that way in certain games. It discredits all other games and characters that try to empower women and strive to provide a different experience. Much like why you shouldn't classify the whole gaming culture or gamers as a whole as perverted or violent just because you find some games too violent and extreme for your taste. It would much like be going to a restaurant, having a terrible experience and assuming all restaurants are the same. With the future trends though, the direction in which most games are developed nowadays provide choice to players to tailor their own experience playing one of the either genders, giving them free reign and to play how they want. No doubt this module of narrative storytelling will continue, as well as the old traditional method of storytelling. In a nutshell, majority of games seem to be developing with an active awareness and precise control over the story elements to provide the experience. And the fact is, we as consumers of the digital age not only welcome something new and different, but rather encourage the industry to venture into new areas and explore new concepts, allowing creators and developers alike the freedom to experiment. And thus we can expect to see shifts and changes to how women are portrayed within the games and gaming culture in the future. That's all for this video. I hope you all enjoyed and found it interesting. If you've got any questions or comments, feel free to ask and share. Otherwise, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I will see you all later.